Hi guys, this is Caleb Nati. I just want to share some thoughts and my thoughts, my ideas. The reason I want to talk about it's the video that has been surfacing of Prophet Bushiri, Prophet, the saying of prophecy gone wrong, and people exposing that he's a false prophet. They're doing all those videos and all that. I'm going to be objective about it, and I've seen the video. I think it plays for like 10 minutes. Some play for 7 minutes. I think people should they should stop, you know, putting false accusations and some of these things. It sort of comes from jealousy and hate. I believe a man who's got so powerful, who's got quite a lot of leaders. People, I believe some part of his congregation are people who are very intellectual and they understand common sense. I've seen the video, and my thought is that I know people came and approached me, and they said, "What are your thoughts? Do you think the prophet is legit, is real?" It's quite what you call a rhetoric question, or more. Or I've never quite followed Pastor Bushiri because I know him some years back when he was still very, very young, when he was still starting up. My mother used to love him a lot, and I've listened to his sermons, very powerful. Prophecies, I'm not quite, big fan of prophecies because I believe since Jesus Christ died, we all connect with God. But I believe that those people who believe in prophecies, me be the guy I am, I'm more of sermons, and I've listened to his sermons, are very powerful and very good. So for now, I'll be more objective because the person that he called, or David, whoever, I think we might have got it confused, and for now, I'll just say I'll take the Prophet Bushiri side because he says he's met him downstairs in the basement on the overflow, and they were having this communication problem. And he says he went to him. First thing, the prophet, he's always with bodyguards. And it just brings a lot of question. Where did they meet? Because if it's 2 o'clock, how were they engaging if the guy was struggling with communicating with him in English, especially when he's from outside, and the Prophet Bushiri is from outside. So even my wife asked me about it, what do I think? And I gave him an example that some years when I was growing up, Evangelist Ralkhulela, he prophesied that in the next coming years, I was young, I think 90, in year 2000, yeah, it was year 2000, Ralkhulela once came to Bushbuck Ridge, where he prophesied. Imagine evangelist prophesying that in the next, it says in the next coming years, we're going to overrun technology. I think the reason he says that because we're struggling with this computer. Remember then when they were introducing computers. And he says that the next, the way the gospel is going to be so powerful, we're going to overrun technology. And he says that at this point, there was this day, he was preaching somewhere. And where he was preaching, this lady approached him and says, "You prayed for me on this day." And Rahul says, "No, I didn't pray for you. I was not there. I was preaching somewhere in another country." But the lady says, "No, you came and you prayed for me. I was in hospital. I was sick." And then Rahul says, wanted to go more and says, "No, man, I think you're getting confused." And Rahul says, "No." And the Holy Spirit said to him, "You should keep quiet because the upcoming generation is going to overrun technology. People, they're going to see your face. You'll be preaching here, but another you in another world. You'll be doing other things. You'll be more multiplying." So for me, and when I saw that, the confusion, and I was more like, okay, this could be the same thing. Maybe it could be what the evangelist prophesied some years ago, that, we're going to overrun people. We're going to appear ourselves many times. people are going to say to us, we met, and you know that we literally didn't meet at all. You're doing something that, because even the prophet even confirms it, that he was in Malawi at that time. Because he says they met at 2 o'clock, and this guy says, but no, man, I was in Malawi. And I'm not sure, maybe the prophet could have been aware that, you know what, maybe since it's measure 1, as it says, he's overrunning the technology. And the other thing I think maybe the prophet could have done, which is wrong, it's he entertained the guy for a long time. I've seen Prophet TB Joshua, when it comes to an approaches and he prophesies on you, if you say no or you disagree, he's on the spot, he doesn't entertain, he moves on. So I think the same way with Prophet Bushiri, he should have done the same thing. He should have, after when the guy says, if we met or something, he should have just says, you know what, you are confused. Focuses on another one, because entertaining such things, it just brings a lot of questions. It just confuses the church. So when such people, you know, when you are busy offering, or when you are busy what you call ministering and kind of such things, you shouldn't entertain them. You should just pray and move on. And I think that's the very important thing, and it's what I've learned about TB Joshua, that, you know what, when he says prophesies to you, and if you don't agree with his prophecies, he moves on. He doesn't continue entertaining you, or he doesn't continue with prophecy trying to convince you to say yes, because it's a question of confidence that, you know what I'm saying, it's what I'm saying, and if you choose to not to take it, then he moves on. So for me, that's short of my analysis, and they love him, and I think people should also stop, you know, posting these videos that he's a false prophet, putting all these accusations about him and all that, you know. I mean, this goes to the same way to Mbora being labeled these bad names and all that, you know. Why is this thing not happening in white pastors? Why is it always focused on black pastors? You know, sometimes you Google, when you just type prophet who, you know, Google just spreads out negative things, expose this and this. You know, I think it's high time as, you know, Christians, you know, we protect our prophets, our pastors, whoever, and let's not try to judge them, you know, because they've got large number of membership, they've got influence, and we start putting things to them. You know, I think people, when they hate, they should hate in their corners, they should hate in their secret ways. You know, if someone is gifted, let's appreciate them, let's love them. You know, I don't believe in certain things, but I will not like vehemently go and criticize what. Let's appreciate each other as black people, and I think that's the same thing. And I think, I mean, there are a lot of white pastors with huge membership, but most of them are not quite criticized. You know, so let's embrace our pastors. Let's embrace our prophets. And if you feel like he's a false prophet, what makes you that? How do you know that? Did God tell you that he's a false prophet? Not that I'm protecting him, I'm just saying that before we go out publicly and saying that someone is a false prophet, what? Only time can only tell that, you know. Because if I'm a false prophet, I'm lying to people, time will expose me, you know. I'll be, you know, people who always done wrong, they end up killing themselves, self-destruction. So I believe let's reserve our comments. I mean, this just takes me back to the story of David and Saul, where David had an opportunity to kill, but David says, "Who am I to kill a man of God? Even though he has backslided, even though he has fallen, I don't have the power. He was ordained by God. You know, even though my pastor may fall or anything, I don't have the power even to go and criticize him. Who am I? If God has anointed him, I need to respect him as much as God has anointed him." And this goes the same way to me, to us. We need to look at ourselves first. If I was in the same position, what's going to happen? You know? So we need to look at things from that perspective, that if it's me in the same position, the accusations, the hating, how would I feel about it? So before we start criticizing and say this and this, let's first apply our common sense. A man who's got a lot of memberships, always with bodyguards, where did he meet the man at the basement? If we met him out of law, how? Let's just ask ourselves quite common sensible questions. And I'm not saying he's wrong, maybe he's right, but I don't know. You get what I'm saying? But at the point where before we can say he's a false prophet because of that, and the other thing is he's a man. You understand? The prophet is a man. He's a man, and a human being. He breathes. He's got heart and all that. So sometimes I think we forget that, and sometimes we treat them as angels, whether these people are just human beings and they're fallible. I mean, there are 4 prophets that they prophesy that the next president is going to be a woman, and we were shocked when we found that it was a man. They said the next president of America is going to be a woman, and it never happened like that. It looked like that's going to be a woman. The support was there, but when the result came out, we got a different result. It was Donald Trump. There it is. I mean, the biggest prophets, sometimes they get it wrong. And this is just to say, you know what? They're human beings, and sometimes God humbles us because sometimes we tend to feel like we're superstars. Sometimes we feel like we're me and we forget about, but God can still remind that, these people are human beings and they are capable of doing mistakes. So for me, that's my take on it. And the video, it's not putting evidence that he's wrong or what. I would say that if you are a follower, whatever, believe in what you believe, but don't be shaken. But even the Bible says that you face temptation, you'll be shaken. You need to know what you're standing for. And for me, that's my take on the event that happened with Prophet Bushiri. Share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Share your comments. Yeah, let's have a conversation. But yeah, let's talk about it. Let's be open about it, and let's look things with a different eye. Let's not be quickly to judge, as the Bible says. Yeah, it's me, Caleb Nati. This is my video analysis with the incidents, Prophet Bushiri service. Thanks. Bye. Cheers.